Hey.
Excellent. Well, an exciting topic today. I know Jill's pretty excited about this too. So it is 10:15, or I'm sorry, 2:15 here Central Standard Time. We're going to get started right away. As you all know, or many of you know, that these sessions are just short and quick, almost podcast-like, 15 minutes in length. We do extend these out a little bit, but that's kind of just dependent on how the conversation's going, maybe answering any of your questions. So yes, if you do have questions or comments, feel free to put those in the chat. But yes, today, our title today, Strategies for Mastering Aging. And this is a topic that Jill is pretty passionate about, and I have myself been kind of interested in it as well. Maybe a little bit more kind of early stages of interest as I kind of age myself. But
Yeah.
I'd like to start off with you, Jill. Why does this topic of aging come to your attention?
Oh, well, thank you, Kyle. I It really came to my attention, honestly, I'm going to back up, when I was in my teens, and I remember my mother was 40, and I said, wow, that's really old. Wow, 40. I can't imagine what that's going to feel like when I get there. And it's always kind of stuck with me. And I set an intention, I even think back then, to, really, age gracefully, or take kind of an ownership of my aging and decide what I wanted that to look like for me. But of course, then I went through my teens and I probably didn't think about it very much. And I went through my 20s and I went through my 30s. And somewhere around my 40s, I just started to notice things like, oh, my eyesight started to fade. And for as a woman, perimenopause and all the sort of the awareness, what you and I were talking about, of I am aging. And yet on the inside, I felt exactly the same, with the difference of now I wasn't in my teens or 20s or 30s, right? So that definitely
Right.
changed, definitely. But I still felt like the essence, I'm still like the same person. And having children, I wanted to make sure that I could live as long as I could, in this body and do the things that I wanted to do with my life. And that just became more important as I got older and older. So now I'm in my 60s. And so for me, the looking at, well, gosh, how many more years do I have to stay active? And I want to be as active as possible is more relevant than ever,
Right,
honestly.
right. Yeah, similar to myself. Now, I'm mid 30s, so kind of a different stage. But thinking of how you were kind of saying the family members or the experience, or things that you are observing. So like for myself, was kind of just seeing my grandparents, seeing my parents now, and because I'm kind of, I'm in this career that we are in, it's now okay, genetics. How what are my family members doing? How are genetics playing a part into their aging as I, kind of witness their process? And my grandfather on my dad's side is the one that really kind of puts it into a goal almost, where he's 82 or 83 now, and he uh, trout fishes every day. He uh, ties the flies for
I,
fishing. He's, and then with fishing comes movement, hiking. I can't really, talk about his nutrition just because he lives in Colorado where you are at.
uh,
But just seeing the activity level that he maintains. So not only the physical activity level, but also the kind of the mental activity level as well, because it takes, thought process, some of that fine motor movement as well when it comes to, this example of tying flies. So I kind of have my own goals and wishes for my dad, that genetics can, good genetics can help, allow him and then myself to, live a long, active lifestyle, but also being intentional about, what am I doing for movement or just simple activity? How am I challenging my mind to keep that mental sharpness? So,
Absolutely. Yeah, all the things that you're saying are really resonate with me as well. One thing I did notice, or a couple of things talked about genetics, is things started to show up in my body. And like I ended up having high cholesterol, whereas in my, I think 30s and 40s, or maybe actually, yeah, 30s and 40s, I had my cholesterol taken. And the doctor said, it's like 90. He said, you'll never have a problem with cholesterol. Okay. So in my life, and I'm feeding my kids and I'm eating all the cheese and ice cream and everything. And then I end up with high cholesterol. And I'm like, wait, okay, well, I'm still doing the same things. I'm still eating the same things. But then that awareness caused me to make a dramatic change in my diet. And I took out all dairy and I became so much more conscious about how I was eating. And I dropped my cholesterol about 60 points pretty quickly. So the awareness and again also genetics. Then I got high blood pressure, and I come to find out that in my family there is high blood pressure. And so then my attitude about like aging, I'm like, oh my goodness, like high cholesterol and high blood pressure, like what am I going to do? What can I do to kind of turn back the clock and set
right.
myself right? And so I changed my diet. I started to exercise even more. um, and I did go on some medication for my blood pressure, and now my blood pressure has stabilized. But then that indicate like even like having to go on blood pressure medicine for me was like, wow, I'm really getting older. And I'm not going to deny that that wasn't like a emotional sort of setback for me. Like, okay, I've been living in my body, I've been doing my all the right things. So then the awareness of I'm getting older, but then the action of, well, how am I going to still continue to live a life of vitality and
Yes.
passion?
Yep. Yeah, so for everyone, Jill has now said it at least 3 times now. The word awareness, and when we were prepping for this coach's corner, that was the big theme that Jill and I really just kept coming back to. And I think when it comes to awareness, there's kind of different prongs, different avenues of awareness, and you hit on the first one. It's the awareness through like your biometric screenings or medical testing or medical history, family history for that matter too. I'm going to now touch on for myself as a someone in my mid 30s is just the awareness of how my body feels. I know you touched on that as well a little bit, but for anyone who's kind of, I don't know if you want to say early in their aging process, um, just strictly the taking a moment to stop and be like, oh, my back hurts for some reason. What am I doing that could be causing, this this discomfort or pain, whatever it might be. Okay, what do I need to do to maybe change my routine or lifestyle, to mitigate the feelings and sensations that I'm having? So like that example, maybe having some back pain. Well, am I sitting too much? Am I not stretching? Am I not, moving enough? And it all of that stuff feeds into, what could be down the line if you are not aware and proactive.
I mean, absolutely. And I think that the awareness is like the number one component is to start listening to the body and noticing, well, what do I need nutritionally? Is a diet of sugar, is that helping me think clearer? Is that helping my energy? Or is a diet that's more balanced? I know that as we age, protein is an element that we definitely need more of. And then noticing when I do add more protein, well, how does my body feel? And then there's exercise, right? If I'm feeling lethargic, do I need more rest or do I need to move more? But I
Mhm.
feel as if turning sort of the glasses the like inward and really looking at sensing our bodies for those cues to help us get on the path of or stay on the path of aging gracefully.
Absolutely. And with the people that I've worked with, whether it's in classes or just the coaching sessions, I will kind of be like empathetic about it, but it's hard to be aware sometimes, because even thinking of just my current life situation, if I was not in this health and exercise science career and maybe just, doing a typical corporate job with two kids, wife, house, I mean, all of those responsibilities and commitments stack up. And we just naturally put ourselves to the side to complete the other things that, are kind of more important priority. Where reshaping the approach and putting yourself into a higher level of priority is very much a key. And as we are kind of talking about the awareness aspect, even as simple as just taking 60 seconds and oh yeah, this is unusual, just that mental awareness, the physical awareness, just again, the whole topic of or theme of awareness.
Yeah, that's and I remember being in that age. I remember way back when of having young children and really not taking care of myself in the same way. So I think that the one of the beauties of getting older is the ability to have more time and not be in the child rearing years, as amazing as they were, but a little bit of a trade-off. So now I'm getting older, but I have more time and a bit more wisdom, just in that I've lived on this earth a lot longer than somebody like in their 30s or 40s. And it did take for me, I'll be honest, to my 50s to start really being aware of my body and not listening to the cues that it was giving me.
Right, right.
It took a while. So it'd be wonderful. And it's something I talk to my children who are now starting to be in their 40s and letting me know, wow, these things are going on in my
Hi, Ben.
body.
My name is Wendy Krantz. I
And,
had actually,
and I'll say, well,
um,
listen to your body. What do you think you need? What are the changes? Do you need more sleep, more change your nutrition, your
Right.
exercise? Yeah.
So, question for you to just to kind of see if we can pinpoint some stuff. When people are, or when you are aware of things, how do we how do we make the changes or seek out the information for those changes? So like for yourself, what have you done?
I started to get much better about my yearly checkups, I'll be honest, and doing blood panels and not fighting the, oh, I'm getting older, embracing I'm getting older and these are the things that my body needs. So taking action. It's one thing to be aware, but awareness is nothing unless I know for me that I would take some action. And then I'd start experimenting with, all right, I'm going to take sugar out of my diet. I'm going to take some dairy out. And well, then how does my body feel? As if my body was like an experiment and I'm going to experiment with different things. Then I added more exercise. And then I added rest, just taking action.
Right. And sustainable action too. You've been doing our Fit and Fuel 75,
Oh, yeah.
challenge with, and I, whether it's your posts or even just things that you've shared with the team, you have you've shared a lot of small steps that you have taken. And yes, it's connected to this challenge, but when I hear you talk about these things, they are action items that are sustainable, not these drastic changes that are hard to yeah, sustain, a year from now, 5 years from now. And that's some of the challenging factors in the kind of the current space and information that we live in. There's a lot of people who are having success, and you see a lot of things on social media and whatnot, and sometimes it's not the right approach for you. But sometimes you also just need to try it out too, subsequently. But the key factor that I'm talking about here is we've talked about, our team has talked about it before, with taking small steps or small action, and trying to find things that work for you as the individual, not something that works or that has worked for somebody else, because there is that chance that it might not work for you. But again, it's kind of, as I'm bouncing back and forth, I'm understanding that it might sound a little kind of hypocritical almost, in terms of like, it might not work for you, but there's also that element of like trying.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And small steps, like in the 75-75. I remember when you proposed it, and I was, oh my God, 75 days of commitment? How am I going to do 75 days? And I am so 100% in it. And what I did was I took out protein bars and I added protein shakes. So manageable, so easy to do for me. And then I added that 20-minute or 10 minutes of exercise outdoors, right? And I, walk around the building. But I know for myself, if I was going to take on something much bigger than that, my success rate would go down for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. And so, doing the things that are helping to prolong life in a positive way. But we've talked a lot about body, but it's not only body, it's also mind, emotions, the spirit, the essence of who we are. Making time to go out with my friends, making time to do nothing.
Absolutely.
Picking up a good book, like all the way that I'm going to feed myself in order to sustain myself so that I can continue to do the things that I want to do, enjoy life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's thinking of some of my coaching clients, I it's never an approach of, I'm going to tell you what to do. It's even though I want to, and I sometimes, maybe kind of, think I know what is the right way to do it or the best way to do it, but a lot of it is just, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? And like you said, resting or, doing a triathlon, or or maybe like to swim, whatever it is, it's, I again, kind of always referring back to my experiences or the people that I currently work with. And thinking of my FTC, Fitness Transformation Challenge program, the on-site workouts at OHQ, is those individuals, sometimes they're, oh, I'm sorry I didn't come in today. I got really busy. And it's just, well, I'm glad you're in here again today. Or, hey, you told me that instead of doing the workout because your schedule didn't allow it, you got outside and went for a walk with your husband and kids. Fantastic. You did something at the very least.
And I have a couple clients that I'm working with right now, and the very first thing that I ask them is to write down what they're eating for a week. Don't change anything, just bring awareness. And these are people that are in like a slight health crisis in terms of cholesterol, pre-diabetic. And so they're thinking too, like, I want to, I want to, well, let's start with awareness. And then after that, making some changes that they can do in order to create sustainability. And I remember one said, well, how long do I have to do this? And I said, well, for the rest of your life. This becomes like wanting to create the potential for a long, healthy life is not like a quick fix. It's changing, adapting, and like you said, some of the small changes in order to create those really good habits.
Yeah. So I know we're 5 minutes over our time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if anybody needs to dismiss themselves, feel free to do so. Thank you for joining us on our Coach's Corner discussion on aging. And like I said, or like what we were talking about was more of the topic of awareness. But I did want to just as I'm looking at the chat, Heidi mentioned a nice little quip, and I 100% agree with her. Even though we've been talking about doing something, stay moving, etc. Heidi is 100% correct. Sometimes doing nothing is absolutely okay. For myself, as a former strength and conditioning coach, or I've at least spent most of my training background working with athletes, recovery is the one of the main things that I always look at and focus on when it comes to developing, a workout plan, but it also factors into, other aspects of life as well. So 100% doing nothing is okay, as Heidi said.
Yeah, I read a study that said napping every day will add 7 minutes to your life. I was like, great, 7 minutes. I thought it was a funny, it might not even be a professional source, but I just thought, I'll take those 7 minutes and also take that nap.
Gotcha.
Rachel Huffman asks, how should we balance cardio training versus strength training? Oh,
Yep,
um,
yep. So
yeah,
yeah,
as we
Kelly
age.
just, and I'm glad Kelly you found that because I was going to try to pull it off the top of my head, but I knew I might get some of it, some of the numbers off. But yes, balancing cardio training and strength training as you age, the recommendations. So we always go off of, some of those kind of governing bodies like the CDC, American Heart Association, and so yeah, as you see in Kelly's response in chat, 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity per week. So yeah, not looking at it per day. It's just, hey, out of a 7-day period, are you getting 150 minutes during that week of moderate intensity or 75 minutes of vigorous activity? And that's for the cardio or aerobic training. For strength training, muscle building, 2 days per week. And with the people like scientists and researchers, people that I have looked into, they always speak to like compound movements for strength training. So thinking things like squats, push-ups, back rows, or pull-ups, if you will, but things where you are strength training over multiple joints and multiple muscle groups.
And I think that variety is really, really key. And as one ages, balance becomes even more important to be able to balance. And agility, which is start, stop, start, stop. And those two sensations, to be able to find ways to move the body that also incorporate times where you can activate agility, which has become very trendy with older people is pickleball. And pickleball really starts that start, stop, start, stop. So fun. And balance can be found in, well, actually, the act of walking is balancing. You're shifting your body weight forward and back and forward and back, but even standing on one foot. So there are definitely exercises that will help the aging process, um, and help us to stay strong and healthy as we continue to age.
Mhm.
I think about also flexibility, being able to stretch your body, mobility, being able to move your body, right?
I was going to say that. Yeah, I always think of flexibility and mobility kind of go hand in hand.
Well, so the joints of your body is where you move your bodies, right? We don't move our joints, nothing moves. So mobility in your joints will allow your body to keep on moving. But then I think like flexibility in muscles, not necessarily tendons or ligaments, but really able to stretch. quadriceps, muscles around the spine, calf muscles. When those muscles get tight, then it can create to more fatigue, more exhaustion, and less motivation. Kelly says, I'm curious what people are currently do to age gracefully, if it is something that I know Elaine said, getting up from the floor without using your hands. I have seen that. That is it. It is a great practice actually to come down to the ground and stand up, at least once a day, all the way down and come all the way back up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I know I've seen different kind of tests and
Yeah.
metrics for, how old your body is. And I take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I've seen things where it's like, oh, if you can do, what is it? If you can go from a kind of the pretzel cross-legged seated
Right.
position,
Yeah. To
and
standing up.
and go straight up without pushing off the ground or whatever, like that's a benchmark for like strength and age and whatnot. But you know, again, who knows how true, or how true that is. Again, I have not dove into like the research on it.
I think that what makes sense is when people get older, oftentimes they will fall, since their awareness of what is called like the kinesphere, the place around the body, proprioception, begins also to depreciate. So then when some older people, and I've heard this a lot, fall down, then the potential to break a hip or something in the pelvis, and then that can kind of, catapult people to limit their mobility. So I do think getting up and down is really, really important.
So yeah, just thinking of like, what am I doing for myself? Just to kind of give, maybe some other perspective or direction. But for me, it's the stretching and flexibility aspect is now on a higher kind of regard. So that way, movement isn't like, or I should say, like, lack of mobility isn't restrictive in other activities. So being able to kind of twist through the spine. Well, if I can't really move very far, because I'm tight and I haven't been working on it, like that's just going to carry on through age, and I'm not going to want to do things because I know I'm restricted, in my movement abilities. And so, doing things like, again, I'm glad that I do the flex breaks every day, because it's an excellent opportunity to keep that as a routine and stay loose, limber, and mobile. But then also, I found that even just super basic beginner like yoga is beneficial as well. And I'm not one for kind of more of that spiritual aspect of yoga. It's purely the movement and stretching aspect of yoga that I really like.
Yeah, I love teaching yoga on Teams to the Medtronic community. And I feel like for me, the spiritual part is literally just that I am connecting to myself. I'm like connecting to my body. And I definitely go towards a physical, like a physical connection when I'm teaching yoga, as I do believe that, you got one body, one lifetime, and nothing happens without a body, nothing that we want to do. So it really behooves us to take care of these bodies. A couple of people have mentioned in the chat, definitely stretching, flexibility. Somebody said go up and down and play with your grandchildren. Well, great point. I have 6 grandchildren, and I spent Friday taking care of the 2-year-old, and it's a lot of up and down. It's I mean, my body, it wasn't like aching the next day, but I can really, I'm picking her up, I'm going down,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to lose those moments with her. And,
right. And I think a key factor with that is doing it too. So not not making an excuse or saying no or trying to kind of cheat. Like, let's say, like, oh, I don't want to get on the ground and do whatever the activity is. Oh, I'll sit in a chair and do it. Like, no, you can challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone a little bit and get your body moving in a different way that is going to be beneficial in the long run.
In the long,
And then
I mean,
again,
yeah.
the purpose and the purpose and intention in surrounding playing with your grandchildren or playing with your 2-year-old just helps extend, again, as we're talking about aging, longevity, vitality. It just
Yeah.
helps extend that.
Vitality also can be seen as life force energy. It's like how much life force energy do I have? If it begins to decrease, and Christine wrote, I see the difference between my dad and my mother-in-law, both similar age. My dad has stayed active and gets around really well. Mother-in-law has been very sedentary and has a hard time walking short distances and loses her balance very easily. So you could say that her vitality has decreased, whereas her father has sustained or even increased. And that is that life force energy. My mom is 87, and she has always been somebody I've looked to, honestly, as what not to do. And, she lives a very sedentary life and mentally is not doing well physically. I have 2 people in my NIA classes, and I also teach cardio NIA outside of Medtronic. They're 84 and 86, and they move beautifully, and they're very cognizant. You can have great conversations, and I'm like, okay, these are the people that I'm looking for. And I want to know, what are they doing to stay healthy? And
Right.
they said, move. We move our bodies. We eat pretty well. We stay connected to our friends. But of all my students, I will be really honest with you, they are the most consistent, being that they know, how much there is to lose in their late 80s.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I know that we could probably talk about this for another hour or a part 2, or I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very thought-provoking topic. But I do want us to be respectful of people's times here during the workday. So want to thank everyone for joining us today. I think we had about 90 people that joined, which was
Nice.
pretty awesome. If you, Jill, have to kind of do, Marie says she wants a part 2 in the future. We might have to revisit this one and maybe even just bring other people into it too.
Yeah.
But I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you had to be just kind of quick and concise, just an elevator pitch, that you're going from, floor 1 to floor 2, keep it short and brief, kind of actions or strategy, what would you share to people?
Number 1, awareness. Listen to your body and take action.
For me, and you just said it in your kind of dialogue before, but movement for me, whether it's cardio, strength training, stretching, like for me, I'm just a big proponent of movement.
Absolutely. 100%. Me too. We are movers.
Excellent. Well, this was fun, Jill. Yeah, as people are saying they want a part 2 from this. So yeah, keep an eye out. I think just with these suggestions, we'll probably highly consider it, just because I think there's a lot of people that just want to learn, gain kind of information through our knowledge or even just experiences as well. So yeah, maybe I think we should revisit this in some capacity here in Coach's Corner. But that is it for our session today. Thank you everyone for joining us and is sticking with us here for, goodness, about 55 minutes or so.
Wow.
So
yeah.
But enjoy the rest of your workday and hope to see everybody again in a future Coach's Corner.
Thank you. Thank you.